With us now is Tom Jenkins, the CEO of the European Tourism Association. Sir, thank you for being with us. The president of the European Commission did not, offer an exact timeline, did not give specific dates on when this might happen. In your opinion, when do you think it will? When do you think American tourists who are vaccinated can fly again to EU countries? Are we talking a matter of weeks?
I think you're hitting the nail completely on the head. She mentioned a lot, but she did not give any specifics. I think that there are 2 or 3 separate issues that have to be resolved. The first thing is, are they allowed to come to Europe? Are they allowed to travel around Europe? And are they allowed to return to America without a quarantine? If at any stage of that process a quarantine is imposed, then the deal is off. You can't ask people to go on vacation and quarantine. These are 2 mutually exclusive phenomena. I think, when will they be allowed to travel? I think it's going to be a question of weeks. It won't be months. I think come the end of May, early June, we'll start to see the restrictions being lifted. I think that the big question we have is whether European countries are still engaged in lockdowns and quarantining people with or without vaccinations from traveling in there. And one of the great fears that people have is the new variations, and they're not sure that the people who've been vaccinated aren't carriers of a new variation. So they need to be sure of that. And lastly, they've got to be absolutely certain that America is not going to turn around and go, actually, we think we're a bit worried about the situation in Europe, and we're going to impose quarantine on people returning. So there are 3 separate factors that have to be resolved. I think the good news is that the president of the European Union treats this seriously. The president of France treats this seriously. This is good news from a tourism point of view. Normally, we're not on the agenda. And I think it shows you quite how serious the crisis is in terms of the service economy in Europe, that this is now top of the political agenda.
Talk to me about the balance, sir. I mean, the need to... the real acute fear of the mutations and the variants, but we do have every day in America 3 to 4 million new shoulders getting doses. We have almost half the country fully vaccinated now in America. At some point, you have to balance the risk with the reward. I mean, don't you need tourists back to some of these countries in the EU? Isn't that revenue important?
Well, you do. I mean, what you need to do is you need to rebuild the service economy in the EU. You're quite right to say that America has got a high vaccination rate. There are only 2 countries, significant countries, with a better one. One is the UK, where I'm currently situated, and the other one is Israel, where you are.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean to say that Israelis, United Kingdom citizens, and American citizens are automatically welcome in Europe. They ought to be, but... this is a political game at the moment. It's not straightforwardly economic, and politicians have been burnt horribly by opening up too early, and they're not going to get burnt horribly by opening up too early again. That means that that Macron and the European Union making these statements is fundamentally good news. And I think, as I said, that they will be opening up by the summer. But don't expect a flood immediately of people.
Yeah,
I think there is huge demand, interestingly, from the from the demand side. If you go to America, all my members in America tell me that there is huge appetite to travel to Europe. Indeed, all my members in Israel tell me there's huge appetite to travel to Europe. They just wait for the go. But there is still going to be real concern if there's even a possibility that you're going to have a quarantine imposed upon you.
Yeah.
There needs to be almost a guarantee that won't happen. And I'm not certain we're going to see that in the next 2 months.
Well, so sir,
come August, I think all the barriers will be off.
All right. So incremental steps and incremental improvement. Mr. Tom Jenkins, sir, thank you so much for your time tonight. Great to have you on the show.
Not at all. My pleasure.